Hello and welcome to Prepress for graphic designers. My name is Calvin and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. Today we're going to go over creating a grid template. This has many different applications, but the most common would be window displays or building wraps. Today I'm going to be creating a template for an elevator tower. This video will be a little longer than our other videos, but there are a lot of smaller steps that need to be done to make the process smoother from start to finish. The client has requested that we wrap an elevator tower. This consists of 5 columns of windows by 3 rows of windows with 8-inch wide vertical mullions and 4-inch tall horizontal mullions between them. The dimensions have been given to us and now we can get started. For ease of use and compatibility, we are going to build this file at 1/10 scale. On all of our dimensions, we will move the decimal point over to the left by 1 digit. The first window is 37.5 by 140.5, so we'll make a rectangle at 1/10 scale, which will be 3.75 inches by 14.05 inches. We'll go ahead and make it black fill and no stroke. Duplicate the rectangle, change it to 0.8 inches wide for the 8-inch wide vertical mullions, and repeat until we have 5 windows and 4 vertical mullions for that row. I've changed the color of the vertical mullions to a medium gray so that I can see the difference between all of them. Then I'll select them all and align with horizontal centers and 0 inches on the horizontal distribute spacing. This particular installer wants the vertical mullions to extend to the bottom of the horizontal mullions. So I'm going to select just the windows, the black, and duplicate to line up with the bottom of the existing rectangles. Now I'm changing the height to 4 inches at 1/10 scale. This will create my horizontal mullions. To make them different, I'm going to make them a light gray. Now I duplicate the entire top row and change the height to 122 inches, 12.2 inches at 10 scale. I can now resize the height of the first row of the vertical mullions to meet up with the second row of the vertical mullions. I'm going to duplicate them again, but this time including the horizontal mullions in the copying. If your third row of windows is a different height, then you change that here. But in our case, this is not. I'm going to select everything and go to Object, Artboards, Fit to Selected Art. I'm going to label the artboards overall just so we know which one it is for the next step. Now rename your layer to artboards, create new layers, and label them Artwork and Install Guides. Duplicate the content from artboards to install guides and duplicate the content from artboards to artwork. You could also just duplicate the artboards layer twice and rename them. Now we can convert to artboards. We will want the same things on our artboards and install guides layers. We'll turn those layers off for right now though. I prefer to delete the artboard we renamed to overall because it tends to get selected while we're selecting and renaming the other artboards. If you notice, when we click on an artboard, it gets a dark border around it. I'm turning the artboards layer back on so it's easier for me to choose the artboard. This is a personal preference. Now I'm going to go back through every artboard, renaming them and organizing them. For example, the first one is W01 for window 01, then an underscore, then put the width by height. I continue this all the way down. Now I'm going to make sure that all of the window artboards are together, all the vertical mullion artboards are together, and all the horizontal mullion artboards are together. This will make it easier at the end. I'll create a new artboard, selecting all the rectangles in the artboards layer, and then select Fit to Selected Art again, and move that artboard to the top, rename it overall. The installer has requested that we give them a 1/2 inch of bleed all the way around, which is 1 inch total on each dimension for the windows. We choose our artboard tool set our anchor point to the center and begin adding 1 inch to the width and height of each artboard. Keep in mind we're still at 10th scale. The installer has requested that we give them 1 inch bleed all the way around. That's 2 inches on each dimension for the vertical mullions. We choose our artboard tool, set our anchor point to the center, and begin adding 2 inches this time to the width and height of each artboard. And the installer has requested that we give them 2 inches of bleed all the way around, 4 inches total on each dimension for the horizontal mullions. We do this the same way that we did the other ones, except for it's 4 inches this time. Once those are set to the proper size, then we'll go in and turn the artboards layer off, turn on the install guides layer. This is where the initial organization starts to come in handy. I'll select one of the 100% black rectangles and go to select same appearance. I am choosing 100% cyan as the install guide color for the windows and setting the opacity to 40%. I'm going to do the same thing with the vertical mullions, but choosing 100% magenta for the color, then repeat for the horizontal mullions, choosing 100% yellow for the color. Now I can go in and add the correct labels to the top rectangles. In this particular scenario, it will be W01 through W15, vertical 01 through vertical 12, horizontal 01 through horizontal 10. And then now we're going to turn off the install guides layer, and you can place the design provided by the client. Make sure that it fills up all the bleeds on the horizontal and vertical mullions, as those extend farther than the windows. When you're ready to go to proof, go to File, Export, Export As, and choose TIFF. Select Use Artboards and set the range to 1 because that is your artboard for the overall artwork. Click Export and set the color model to RGB, resolution to 72, and choose LZW compression, then click OK. Now turn the install guides layer back on and export as a TIFF again with those same settings. Now you have an image to show the client of how the overall graphic will look, in addition to where the artwork will fall on each panel. Once the client approves the artwork and layout, now we can export the individual TIFF files for printing. We can follow similar procedures that we did earlier with only minor changes. Go to Export, Export As, and choose TIFF. Select Use Artboards and set range 2 to 16 and make a new folder called Windows and select Export. Select the color model to CMYK, resolution to other at 1000 ppi, because we're at 10th scale, it'll end up at 100 dpi. LZW compression and embed ICC profile checked. Click OK. Now repeat this for the vertical mullion panels and your horizontal mullion panels. I will usually print a larger version on like 11 by 17 of the overall artwork and the install guide so that the installer can see about where everything falls when they're installing it. You have to keep in mind that they're very close to the building, sometimes suspended off the side, and that sheet is the only reference point they have. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.